My question also has to do with the idea of belief that versus belief in.
Yep.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we could agree that that it's possible for someone to take verses like John 3:16 or the verses from Romans 10, say like if you confess with your mouth Jesus the Lord, believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you'll be saved. It's possible for people to take those out of context, and even though what they have is belief that, they believe that they have belief in because they're taking those verses out of context. So if that is the case, I guess what does it mean to have belief in, and how does a person know that they have belief in instead of belief that?
Well, there's something known as the witness of the Holy Spirit. That you have this, I know it's a subjective sense because I can't show the witness of the Holy Spirit to you, so it's in me, the subject. But it is from an object, the Holy Spirit, who gives you the confidence that what you're believing is true. Okay? Now, here's what thankfully is the case. You can be right and not know why you're right. Right? Most Christians today probably don't know a lot of evidence for Christianity. And if you were to ask them, what evidence do you have, they might not be able to provide it. Nonetheless, they're right that they are saved and they have trusted in Jesus. And if you go throughout the centuries, people didn't have access to this kind of evidence, right? Yet the witness of the Holy Spirit still helped save people. So it's not like you have to know a lot of belief that in order to become a Christian. Most people become Christians with very little belief that, yet they're still Christians. But, of course, the scriptures say you ought to have a reason for the hope that you have. You ought to be able to demolish arguments. You ought to be able to reason together. You ought to be set in defense of the gospel, as Paul says. So you can be right and not know why you're right. You can't share it. And maybe this distinction will help. There's a difference between knowing Christianity's true and showing Christianity's true. You can know it's true because you have this witness of the Holy Spirit, and you've had answered prayer, which is evidence, by the way, and you've had certain things happen in your life, and you go, yeah, God has been witnessing to me, the Holy Spirit has been guiding me. But you might not be able to show that to somebody else. For showing, we need something that we can all view, like arguments we've been giving. That's showing. But showing and knowing are two different things.
Would you say primarily the witness of the Holy Spirit that defines to a person if they have that belief in or not?
If you're worried about whether or not you have belief in, you have belief in. You know, because I know some people are just kind of like a little in their own heads thinking, am I really saved? That kind of thing. If you're worried about whether or not you're saved, you're saved. Okay? It's the people that said, oh, I had a profession of faith when I was a kid, and then they're living like hell. Look, if you're living like hell, you're probably going there because you haven't been regenerated. But if the witness in the Holy Spirit is convicting you of sin and is telling you, do this and don't do this, and you want to follow Jesus, you're saved. If there's no witness of the Holy Spirit, if there's no urging you to stay out of sin and to do good works for Jesus, you're probably not saved. But it's only you that can know that.